By the end of this lesson, you will learn how to create a seat that players can sit on in the games that you're creating in Roblox Studio. This can be helpful if you want the player to sit down on something like a bench or any other part that you would like to create. Let's get started. So you have your game you're working on in Roblox Studio, and the main thing to know about inserting a seat is there's a certain part that you need to insert to have the seat. So that you know that if you were going to play a game and you just have a regular part, that the player will just walk over that part, right? So let's say I wanted to sit on this blue part here. Right now he just walks over that. So there's a way I can make a seat out of any part. And the way you do this is you will go over to the part that you want to add the seat on. And let's say it's this part. I'm going to click on that part. So I've got the union. And I'm just going to click on the plus icon there. And I'm going to look up a seat. So once you click on seat, you'll notice it added a black box or a black part in your game. And so right now, that's the seat. And so if you want that seat to be on the blue part, what you need to do is drag that onto the blue. Now make sure when you have the seat selected, the black part, go ahead over to the properties, and then you want to make sure that you have the can collide turn off. So turn that off, and now whenever I move this around, I can move it right into there, okay? And then when you're done, just make sure that you have it anchored. So I'm going to click on anchored for properties, and that's going to keep it in the same spot. And make sure that you have the union here. I want to make sure that's anchored also. So this one is not, so I need to make sure that's anchored. So now they're both anchored, so they'll both be in the same spot. So now my character will be able to sit on that spot of the part. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. You always want to double check, especially when you add a seat. So there, I can sit down. So if you notice, he's sitting on that part. And to remove yourself from the seat, you just press jump, which is the space bar, and then move around so that way he doesn't sit down again. So now he's sitting there, but you notice that there's kind of like, you can see the seat right there, right? Because the part is next to it. And that happens when you have the parts perfectly aligned. So what I need to do is I need to stop this game and then go over to the seat again. So there it is, find the union, and then there's my seat. And I'm gonna have that selected. And this is where I can change things like the brick color. I could either change the brick color to be the same color. That's one way to do it. Or the easier way to do it is go to transparency and then set that to 1. And so with 1, it'll be transparent so that a player would not see it there. And so I'm going to go ahead and press enter. You can also change the different parts of it, the reflectance, and then the material and those kinds of things. Cast shadow. If you want to make sure maybe the shadow, you might want to have the shadow be off on a seat, depending on if you want people to see it or not. So I might turn that off. And again, you can change other qualities about that seat also. So now I'm going to go ahead and play this again. And now you should not be able to see the place to sit, right? So now it's not flickering like it used to, but I'm just going to go ahead and go there, and I'm still sitting down on that spot. And so once you get comfortable with the seat, then you'll know that you can, I have it selected, and I can go ahead and resize that seat any way I would like. So if I'd like to make the seats larger, I can do that. I can change any qualities of the seat, much like I change parts of a block. And so let's go ahead and put the transparency back to 0. And again, you would just go up to move, scale, and all of that so that you can make a really long seat if you want to, maybe on a bench or something like that. And you can also rotate it if you need to. And again, moving it, you can move it up, so let's say you want the seat to be a little higher and so on. So again, so that's the best way that you can add a seat to the games that you're creating, and then, have the players sit down where you would like them to sit down. So you now know how to add seats to your games in Roblox Studio. So your action item for today is go ahead and add a seat to the game that you're creating and become comfortable with those settings so that when you do want to add seats, you're ready to do that. So I thank you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.